Hey, Albert, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good, Jeff.
Good, good. Hey, this is Jeff Stanislaw at Golfers Unite. We're doing our kind of interview series with people who are in golf industry. We're going to talk to a lot of different people about this because at the end of the day, this ecosystem is large, much larger than a lot of people think. And there's lots of avenues and opportunities in the golf world and what have you. And so Albert, thanks for joining me. Albert is the president and CEO of GolfAway Club. Actually, he's an owner operator of his own club here in Tampa Bay, GolfAway Club, Tampa Bay. And we're going to talk a little bit about business. One of his main things is about connecting people on the golf course, setting up events and discussing business. So our focus today for today's call is going to be to talk about the art of networking on the golf course, because it is a little bit different than walking into a business with your shirt and tie on and what have you. So Albert, again, thanks for joining us.
Hey, appreciate it, Jeff. And yeah, you touched on a good point. I stumbled into this concept on a rebrand coming out of selling golf excursions internationally for Celebrity Cruises. And while doing that development, I networked a lot in Tampa Bay, and met a lot of people who are interested in golf. They play golf, on and off, and they never used it as a true source for networking and development. And I quickly saw an opportunity to really, help people who have similar mindset to kind of bring them together on and off the course, actually, but always within a golf ecosystem to really help them network, understand the game a little bit better, and really how to make connections within that space. So, while I do provide outings for a lot of, executives and owners,
Right.
do a lot of, after five events at indoor golf clubs, attracting speakers, giving tips within the game, but also really trying to fuse people together in a much tighter way, because this community is about vulnerability, right? We're
Yeah,
always pursuing that one great shot. So we know the pain in the game, right? And
exactly.
yeah,
Always pursuing that one good shot for
so,
sure.
so that's
So
what.
so you've been in the space, and you mentioned that you were in the cruise and travel industry, and relationships are big there. But like, what maybe are you seeing, like, how is the dynamic in the business world between what you're used to off the course and on the course? What we want to try to do is give our listeners and people who are watching this video some really, really good pointers on how to conduct themselves on the golf course. So,
Well, the
and
first
maybe
thing,
we can start there.
yeah, the first thing is, don't shy away from going on the course, right? I've met a lot of business professionals that don't take the opportunity to play with a client or a boss or a peer because they think their game isn't good and they're going to be embarrassed. I say take the opportunity. It's all about being vulnerable, right? Miss your shot, but understand the pace of play, right? Pick up and drop. I would say, really step into it, let people know your level, and they'll understand. But, don't jump into talking business the minute you get on the course. Really show that spirit of the game, your interest in it, and then, over time, if you're interesting enough, people ask you a little bit more. What do you do? How do we connect? Um,
Right.
Midway through the course, make sure you get a business card, make sure you set up another appointment. But most of all, be respectful to the game and show your discipline and love for it, or appreciation of it, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
people really take that as a viewpoint of your character. So let that lead and the business will come.
Yeah. Excellent points. I think, like, even if you're not a golfer, or you like the game but you're athletic, your abilities, or you think you can't golf, there's things that you can do, like, maybe start off in a scramble event type thing where, like, do that, and you're hitting the ball, whatever, you don't hit it well, you just go pick the other person's ball and
Yeah,
you're talking to some people. It's a great way to kind of have that icebreaker.
it's
Or,
true.
or there's lots of ways. Go to the range or go get on a sim and start
Mhm.
playing. And you can do research. It's like anything. If you're networking and you're conducting business, and you're probably going to research the company that person works for or know a little bit about them. Like, do a little research on golf.
Yeah.
You're understanding the game and pace of play and things that respect the game of golf is, especially if you're a novice, and it's really good recommendation there.
Yeah.
How about I was going to say, how about there's some other etiquette things that someone should be aware of too, right? Why don't you talk a little bit about some of the golf etiquette for that someone who might be new to golf or is at going into one of your business networking meetings, like don't show up late,
Yeah, that's a big pet peeve. I learned that one the hard way. Yeah, don't show up to your tee time late. Get there 30 minutes, even 45 minutes before. You can putt around, and you can sometimes talk to that person that you're meeting up for 30 minutes before you even start. Always wear a collared shirt, as much as you can, keep the shirt tucked in if you can. And refill your divots. And nothing makes people more upset if you're with someone and they don't refill their divots. And a divot is you dig into the ground and you scoop out some dirt. Just take the sand and put it in there. It says a lot about your character.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a handful of things. You fix your divots, you fix your ball marks.
Yeah.
You can Google these things on the internet, and it can tell you how to do them like in 10 seconds. Catch the pace of play. Rake your bunkers.
Help to spot other balls.
Yeah.
Things there's a lot of courtesy in golf, a lot of courtesy, and don't throw your clubs if you can.
Yeah.
Not throw your clubs. I had a bad experience with a guy that he was a club thrower. It was the first time coming out with us, and he tossed his club and hit another member on his left.
Shit.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I didn't invite him back. But those are just bad ways to show who you are as a person. So there's a lot of who you are comes out in there. So just be mindful. And to your point, do the research, learn the basics.
Yeah. I think when it comes down to golf and the anger level and stuff like that, you get a little older, you get a bit more mature. But at the end of the day, it's like, the game is you can be so passionate about it. And I think that one of the biggest challenges is that, these folks are athletic in a certain way. Maybe they played baseball or football or, whatever they did. And you're playing golf and it just kind of looks like, why is this thing so hard? It's not moving. You know what I mean? It's like, and it can be very frustrating, but I think you have to have a level head in regards to that, because like you mentioned, it's a reflection of yourself. And so if you're out there for business reasons, it's really important. So we're talking to Albert Donaldson. He is the president and owner of GolfAway Club, golfawayclub.com. And he's the actual owner operator of his kind of own territory in Tampa Bay. Why don't we take a minute to tell us of some upcoming events that you might have, Albert? We can get that out to the audiences. Probably, let us know what you got going on.
Yeah, certainly. So the big one that I think confirmed this week is we are going to be doing a fundraiser for the ALS Association on March 18th.
March 18th.
So, March 18th. So Samantha is the development director, I believe, and we just kind of landed on what the dates are, what we need to do. There's a few soft things that we have to work through, but on March 18th, we're going to be doing a fundraiser to help support their cause.
Okay.
Also, I'm doing my monthly huddle on January 28th at the Hidden Fairway Golf Club. That's kind of my home base for members to come out and kind of network, get complimentary wine and food, and get some golf tips. And we're going to have a speaker that's going to touch on fitness and athleticism.
So the huddle is not a round of golf. So the huddle is kind of like a outside the course type thing.
No, the huddle is at an indoor golf club.
Okay.
So it's kind of our clubhouse space, if you will. And a friend of mine owns it, and I do my monthly meetups there for members and special invited guests, and it's a really good time. It's once a month, and I usually always have an executive speaker of some sort that talks about their vision, their mission, their why, what drives them, and how they're connected to golf in some way.
Yeah, no, that's good. Albert, tell us a little bit about the membership, and maybe like taking a step backwards. What differentiates you from like a business club membership, and why golf, and why are you doing this, and then maybe tell us a little bit about what membership offers that you have and how people can connect with you.
Yeah, so I found golf to be a really great lifestyle sport. It's good for your personal life, it's good for your business life, it's good for your social life. I tell people you'll never be alone if you take up golf. You can always,
Yeah.
sign up for a tournament, walk into a golf club, and you'll make friends. They'll sit you next to someone on a foursome. So I think it's just good overall. Two, I really think it's a deep way to connect yourself and your business. And I think having a business club environment really helps me to focus on the needs of club members. So, one of the big pet peeves networking is I found that a lot of people who need help never said they needed help within networking spaces. They're always talking about things are going great, their business is good. And then a year from now, a year after, they're struggling. And I'm like, well, if you learn to just talk about the problems in the network environment, you can find solutions. So I try to agitate some of these needs within these spaces or make referrals and connections. So a part of it is really percolating some of the discourse, some of the needs, some of the discomfort to say, hey, how can I find help, or how can this environment be helpful to you if we just bundle together, huddle together, and go play together?
Right.
So it's really finding and discovering needs and wants and kind of connecting those people together.
Yeah, I mean, it's on a deeper level as well in the golf community, because you can build a relationship over time. You get to know the person, a little bit more personally, more about them. Now, I know a lot of people kind of have this mindset like, oh, it takes 5 hours a day to go play golf. Well, if you're doing some high value, high ticket, type business development, it's going to take you a year, 2 years to build that relationship and build that trust. And so I
Right.
think one thing that a club like yours, and this is Jeff from Golfers Unite, and we're talking Albert Donaldson here from GolfAway Club. And it's obviously golfersunite.com is my domain, and Albert's is golfawayclub.com. But we're really just diving into some of the business side of golf, and the relationships that can build, the trust that it can build. You learn a lot about who you are, reflecting on things and yourself. If someone was thinking about joining a club like yours or join your club, what's just the budget, for like a membership, and what's some of the value propositions that you get?
Yeah, so as a member right now, I've been, increasing the value as I add more special interest in it. Right now, a base level for a membership is $220 for the year. I do have a secondary tier at $320, and I have an executive tier at $2,500. Some of those access gives you the login for or business or member portal, and within that portal have more services for people to use to help them with development. So there's a workbook and a journal. There's some content that I'm going to be loading for EOS. I don't know if you know what EOS is, but it's the Entrepreneurial Operating System.
Okay.
There are ambassadors that people can reach out to. Later this year, I'm going to launch business services where I take some of the members' businesses, whether they're in SEO or website or sales, and really start to highlight their business within that portal for services. So a member can sign up and do consulting with these companies at a rate that they couldn't get otherwise. So I'm really pushing more of how do you find strategic development within the member group based on their business services and their level of expertise, including my own, obviously.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your background and your expertise. I know you're pouring a lot of content and knowledge from your experience inside the added value membership portal. What can someone expect, inside that portal? Is there, just a few things you want to hit on?
I think, the evolution of it will be very dynamic over the next, year or two. I think really it will become a space where people can shop a lot of different types of services, which includes community partnership services and advertising spaces for other companies, as well as business consulting services. My background comes out of, advertising for Zimmerman Advertising, for about a year or so, but largely for business development and marketing for the cruise industry. I spent about 13 years working for Celebrity Cruises and Royal Caribbean, doing international, market strategy for them. So I
Okay.
did their onboard operation and guest services. So I come from that development strategic side, and I like to find these opportunities and really identify gaps and find pathways to closing those gaps.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Albert Donaldson with GolfAway Club, and it's golfawayclub.com. I appreciate you spending the time. This is Jeff with Golfers Unite at golfersunite.com. We're going to do some more of this stuff, Albert, because I think we just touched on the surface, and maybe we can collaborate and kind of do a series of like, hey, we can have, 15, 20 minutes on opening the door while golfing about business.
Great idea.
It's like, I mean, the whole thing, I'm like, all right, you're talking with someone, you want to try to do some business and what have you. There's a strategy behind opening the door. And if you do it wrong, you're just an ass and a jerk. And, it's going to take you, another year to kind of recoup that, but if you do it properly, and I always, one rule of thought that I always have is, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Ask some good questions and listen and take things in, and make some mental notes on some things that they like. And so next time you play with them or something like that, how's your daughter doing, at Florida State, she's doing well. And, and all of a sudden that's what golf can do for you as you build these relationships.
You get insights on personal details and connections. Yes.
Yeah. Very true. And then you can align your connections. If you had, maybe your spouse or maybe your aunt or whatever it is went to Florida State as well. You know what I mean? And now you have that immediate connection, and then you build that relationship.
And the reverse is true, or the opposite is true. You can quickly find out if someone's not a good prospect and say, this is not an opportunity. Let me put my energy somewhere else. So, you hit it spot on.
Yeah. And well, listen, Albert, again, Albert Donaldson, golfawayclub.com. This is Jeff Stanislaw from Golfers Unite. I appreciate your time, and we'll put this all up on the socials and go from there.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for this opportunity.
All right. Thank you.